All right, folks, the BAFTAs just wrapped up, and like I said, I wasn't able to watch the show here, so I wasn't able to see any of the speeches or anything, but it seems like the Oscar race is over for Best Picture. It seems like even with the heavy British favorite, the favorite, yeah, that's funny, even with that in the Best Film category, Roma still succeeds to win film, director, cinematography, and foreign language film. And I think, you know what, at the Oscars, I think those are the four categories it's going to repeat in. I don't really, other than those, it's up for a couple of acting races, of course. It's up for original screenplay. Let's see, what are the other ones? Sound categories and production design. I don't know if it has a chance in those other categories, unless it gets a surprise win in screenplay or, I don't know, some people are saying maybe supporting actors, but I doubt it. But I think four is probably going to be the number it wins there. The favorite, though, still, gets 7 wins here, which is very, very impressive. Very much in the line of something like Gravity, which I think had close to 6 or 7 wins here at BAFTA as well, including that one won director but lost film. But the favorite actually pulls through with a couple of wins in the acting categories. I had it down for one screenplay, one British film, which, yeah, I probably should have gotten that right, but oh well. Then picked up both production and costume design, and also a big surprise in hair and makeup. Yeah, I think overall, I think this is definitely a sign that the favorite was one that was definitely not going to go home empty-handed over here at BAFTA. But Roma's win for film, I think that clears the way. That I mean it's going to be a genuine shocker now. I think if Roma doesn't win at Best Picture for the Oscars, director I think is solid. Alfonso Cuarón won here. And the DGA win. The only thing, we'll get to the cinematography category here in a little bit, but again, we see the guilds are really the only place where Roma is not 100% solidified in its wins. Like, it did win the DGA award. That's been the only major guild it's picked up. Lost the production design guild, that award, I think, for Period, I think was the one it was in. Lost that, of course, to the favorite. Did not get any nominations at all from SAG, lost PGA. We'll see where WGA goes, but I don't think it's going to pick up a win there. And even the Cinematography Guild, it lost to Cold War, which was a big, I mean, probably arguably one of the biggest shockers so far of the Guild wins. Green Book picking up PGA is also a big upset there. But, I think otherwise, though, and we'll get to the cinematography category there as far as if that will also happen at the Oscars or not. We'll see, but I don't think it will for Cold War at least. Okay, for the acting races, Rami Malek, no genuine surprise, wins for Best Actor here. Yeah, I think he's fully on that Eddie Redmayne train from 4 years ago, where you lose the Critics' Choice, but you still win one of the Globes, BAFTA, and SAG as well. SAG definitely being the key one there. So I think he's pretty solid in his Oscar campaign there. Best Actress, however, goes to the Brit Olivia Colman. Now, I was just going Glenn Close here just because she's been on such a kind of winning train here. I don't think that Olivia Colman has it in her to win it at the Oscars. I think Glenn, at least here in the States domestically, is very much top of mind in this category. I think the favorite, if they really want to give it an acting category, they do have another place, and that's, of course, supporting actress. And we'll get to Rachel here in a second, who also won here at BAFTA. But I would be, right now I think it'd be foolish to go against Glenn Close at the Oscars, again, unless we're going to have a big upset. I'm trying to think, because I remember back to the year where Meryl Streep kind of surprised with her win for The Iron Lady, but even though you look at it, she had won the Globe, and she had won, I believe, Critics' Choice, and she also won BAFTA that year. And the SAG went to Viola Davis, and everybody, including myself, thought, oh yeah, Viola Davis has it, but nope, it was Meryl. But I think the only thing is Olivia did win one of the Globes, sure, but then lost SAG and lost at the Critics' Choice. I'm going to actually look it up here to see what happened with Meryl the year of the Iron Lady at Critics' Choice. So I thought she won, but no, she lost. So that must have been, that was Viola. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a weird year, but I don't know. I think I feel like the Comedy Globe for for Olivia. That was an easy bet at that point. And Glenn definitely did have a fight against Lady Gaga at the Globes for drama, and I had Glenn originally there, but then fell in line with the populist idea that Lady Gaga was going to win, and I got burned on it. So, so I don't think I'm going to get burned by Glenn Close again at the Oscars. Okay, supporting actor. A lot of people were pulling for Richard E. Grant to win, but I stuck with Mahershala Ali, and it paid off. I think, yeah, he's 100% going to win at the Oscar, no question there. Supporting actress, this is really, I think, the only race that's still in absolute question, and that's Rachel Weisz, who won here tonight. Is she going to pull the Mark Rylance and win at the Oscars as well? It's definitely possible. And actually, there was a nice statistic that I saw in another Gold Derby. I can't remember who said it, but because a lot of people, especially here at BAFTA as well, who were thinking somebody like Amy Adams would win, or maybe if they go on a weird thing and go Claire Foy or Margot Robbie, you know, for one of the other non-nominated Oscar. You get what I mean. Somebody who wasn't nominated at the Oscars and is still nominated over here. They were worried that both, you know, since they're both from The Favorite, her and Emma Stone, that they were going to split votes. But I think, you know, and you look at it in recent years, and this is what they pointed out, that last year with 3 Billboards, they had 2 nominees in the same category, one of them won. The Help, we had 2 nominees in the same category, one of them won. And The Fighter, we had 2 nominees in the same category in supporting actress, and Melissa Leo pulled out. So it's like, yeah, I mean, even, especially in recent years, yeah, we have not had that cancellation thing. Now, you know, historically, you go across the Oscars, there's been a few examples of that, where they do cross each other out. You know, Bugsy and supporting actor, I think, was one of them, and gosh, you have to go back a little ways beyond that. You can go back to stuff like All About Eve, where we had some, you know, some stuff like that definitely hurt. So, yeah, I mean, there's, tons of examples where they do cross each other out, and there's other examples where they don't cross each other out. So that, you know, historically, you look at it, it's like, well, it's kind of 50-50 on that. You know, in recent history, they have not been hurt by that, but yeah, still. And this was a case, as we've mentioned a few times, where Rachel had not won at BAFTA before for her performance in Constant Gardener, so this was definitely kind of a makeup award for that. So, you know, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just sleep on it for a few nights and then make my final decision there. But you know, it's got a lot of parallels to that Sylvester Stallone, Mark Rylance year. So, yeah, okay. Moving on to the screenplay categories, original screenplay went to The Favorite. Yeah, it was kind of on a mini sweep there. No surprise. I think the Oscars, yeah, it's still going to come down. Green Book is definitely going to have some fighting power there. I think Vice is one that we might be sleeping on. That might pull out and win. Or if Roma all of a sudden goes on a big winning spree at the Oscars, then maybe that wins too. But I don't know. Right now it seems like, because Karan's name, I think, will be on the thing if he wins for foreign language film. He's definitely going to be there as a producer on the film. He's definitely there as a director and a cinematographer. So I don't know if they want to give him 5 wins in one night. Yeah, that'd be kind of tough. Anyways, adapted screenplay went to BlacKkKlansman. Spike Lee and his other trio of writers. Yeah, I think that'll repeat at the Oscars and probably a WGA too. But I would be wary though at the Oscars though of Barry Jenkins for Beale Street. As we mentioned, they do traditionally really like to go with the solo writers at the Oscars. It's been a little bit since we've seen more than 2 or more than 3 win. I think Birdman was the last time we had 4 writers on a project win, but I'm trying to think. I think that's right, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Anyways, I think both the winners last year, too, were single credits for the screenwriting wins. I think, yeah. Oh, God, what was it called? Well, Get Out. Jordan Peele was the solo writer on that. And then Call Me By Your Name was, even though there were, the director kind of took his credit off. Can't even think of his name now, but whatever. It went to the one other writer there. Yeah, I'm terrible with names right now. Anyways, cinematography, yeah, Roma wins here. Now, yeah, we did see Lucas Zoll, I think is how you pronounce his name, or Lucas Zoll, win for Cold War last night at the Cinematographers Guild. I think there's a way to explain that away because famously there were a few arguments people had early on in the season because a lot of these guilds really like to keep it with traditional cinematographers. They don't like directors turned cinematographers coming in, or stuff like that. So there was a certain question of whether or not Alfonso was even going to be nominated by the Cinematographers Guild. He made it in, and I just went with the assumption that he's got he's won every other practically cinematography award through the year here. So I doubt that he's going to lose, and then he ended up losing last night. And again, it might be just a thing of, well, that guild really likes its cinematographers. They don't really they kind of frown upon directors turned cinematographers. They traditionally don't win there, so that might explain that away. Plus, you look at it on the Oscar ballot, the name of the cinematographer is not going to pop up on the ballot itself. So I think they'll just kind of blind vote and say, yeah, Roma looked great. So yeah, they'll go with that. Okay, let's see here. British film. Yeah, I was taking a gamble with Bo Rap here, and it didn't pay off. It was the favorite. Yeah, and of course, giving it to the favorite here was a, kind of cop-out to not give it best film, too. So that's something to definitely keep in mind there. Documentary went to Free Solo. This was another one I took, They Shall Not Grow Old. That didn't win. So is Free Solo the winner at the Oscars, too? I don't know. RBG is definitely going to put up a fight. So I think that becomes a two-way race there for sure. Okay. Yeah, that's the weird thing. The ceremony started out with the favorite winning British films. I'm like, oh crap, here we go. And then I got like the next 5 wrong or so. I just did terrible in most of these craft categories here. So yeah, Free Solo was another one I got wrong. Yeah, definitely. Original music was another one I got wrong. They went with Star is Born. I had talked about it a bit. Yeah, I probably should have seen it coming, because it is, Star is Born. It had way more nominations than Beale Street did. And both Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga were on the credits here. And I believe when they hand out the ballots in BAFTA, all the names are on there for all the categories. So, yeah, I should have seen that coming. Best Sound was one I would not have seen coming. That was Bo Rap. That was the second win for Bo Rap. I think it's that, the favorite, and Rome. I think those are the only 3 films to have multiple wins. So yeah, they really liked those films. Yeah, yeah. So I think that's the thing is BAFTA historically with this category of Best Sound, traditionally whoever wins this category takes at least one of the awards at the Oscars. I think the last time we saw that not happen was with The Revenant a couple years ago, and that year I remember, Mad Max was there, and I was like, well, it could either mini sweep those tech categories, or they're going to split, and one of them will go to The Revenant. So I went with The Revenant in both, naturally, and got them both wrong. So yeah, Dunkirk won both of them last year. Arrival took sound editing a couple years ago. Whiplash took, which, by the way, when I'm naming these are the winners of BAFTA first. Whiplash took sound mixing. Gravity won both. Les Miserables won sound mixing. I think Hugo, did that win just one? Or, well, obviously, yeah, I don't think it won the, let's see, sound mix. It swept both of them. Okay, yeah, Hugo's another one, swept both. Inception, I believe, took both of them. Hurt Locker, I believe, took both of them. Slumdog took, I think, sound mixing. I don't think it was up for editing, but yeah. Bourne Ultimatum, I think, maybe that was the last time they got it wrong. Nope, it won both of them. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The next one, Casino Royale, I think was the last time they got it wrong, because yeah, that received no Oscar nominations. So yeah, if you look at that's in the last 12 years, they've only gotten 2 of them wrong. One way or another. Yeah, that's a pretty historical thing. So that's the question though, because Bo Rap is in both of the sound categories at the Oscars. Well, it is a musical, or some people would classify it as that. Others just call it a drama, but whatever. I'm thinking sound mixing is definitely the one of those to go. I think I had First Man winning this, and First Man took home nothing today. So yeah, that's not a great sign going into the Oscars. But yeah, I think I'll probably pull First Man out from the win in sound mixing and put in Bo Rap. Sound editing, I'll probably keep First Man. Yeah. Production design went to the favorite. Yeah, that's no surprise there. For that, and then costume design also went to the favorite. It's really the question of, is the popularity of Black Panther, which also has won a few Guild Awards for these prizes, and the Critics' Choice Award for these prizes, both of them, is the popularity of that film going to outshadow the favorite? I don't know. After 7 wins here, this is definitely, as we mentioned through the season, the favorite has had kind of a struggle to really be a big winner everywhere except for here in the British Independent Awards. As we mentioned, only 1 out of 5 for the Globes, 2 out of 12 for the Critics' Choice Awards, and both of those were in categories we don't traditionally see at the Oscars. 0 wins at SAG, lost PGA, was not nominated for DGA, not eligible at WGA, so it has kind of, even though it's the most shared, tied for most nominations at the Oscars, it's kind of struggled in the precursor season here until today for major wins, again, excluding the British Independent Awards. So I think, this is a good sign for it, I think, going in. I think maybe, as final voting begins here, we could see the favorite, maybe, it's one that, not, if you haven't watched it yet, maybe a few people will put it in and say, oh, okay, well, yeah, the costumes look great, yeah, the sets look great. It's not up for hair and makeup, but it also won here for makeup, and that, I think that'll just be Vice at the Oscars. And I think another thing you have to remember too is the favorite, released in November. Black Panther was released clear back in February, and it's been on Netflix. And since then, we've had a couple of Marvel films come out, and one is about to come out, which have kind of not stolen its thunder, but definitely been more talked about in recent. Very recent times, at least, but yeah, I think still Black Panther, with 6 nominations over there at the Oscars, if I remember correctly, I think it was 6, yeah. It could still win both of those production and costume design categories, but I don't know. For now, I think I'll stick with the more traditional Oscar pick, which is the favorite. Okay, speaking of Black Panther, though, it did win for visual effects. It's not nominated to the Oscars, of course. I'll probably still stick with First Man. If Avengers had won over here, then I probably would have switched over to Avengers, but yeah, they don't really like Marvel in that category at the Oscars, so yeah. Yeah, superhero films they don't really like, Planet of the Apes film, none of the big franchise films, including Harry Potter and all the rest of them, traditionally they get one of the nominations there. They just go right past it and go to something else. So I think something like First Man is more optimal there. Yeah, we mentioned favorite one for makeup as well. I think that'll probably just be Vice. I don't know why Vice didn't win here today. Yeah. Instead, Vice did win another award. It won for editing. So yeah, I had Bo-Rap winning that one in a big upset win. But yeah, I think that's, even though Vice did not win one of the editing awards, you look at the history of that award at Ace Eddie, we saw Gravity lost, and that still won at film editing at the Oscars. Boyhood won at Ace Eddie, and then Whiplash went on to win at the Oscars. So yeah, we've seen that happen before. So I think I'll probably stick with Vice then for film editing for now, unless something like, if the favorite had won here, then maybe that would have given me pause. Bohemian Rhapsody definitely would have made me switch over to it, but yeah. And the other two that were up, First Man and Roma, were not nominated to the Oscars. Okay, yeah, so yeah, the last couple categories to talk about here are really quick and talk about the Rising Star Award. That was Letitia Wright. We had that one, I think. Animated film was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that I don't think anything's going to stop it. Just the last category is foreign language film, and I did pick Roma. That was the winner here. Yeah, I'm starting to, there is still that question at the Oscars of, well, if they really, really like Cold War and enough of them have seen it, and they really love it, and they're really passionate about it, it can overtake Roma just in that category if they're really worried about foreign language film and best film overlapping. Which happened at Critics' Choice, so it's not unprecedented in this season. And as we see a lot of times at the BAFTAs, including last year, Best British Film and Best Film overall will overlap from time to time. They did with that one, King's Speech. Yeah, there's a whole history of them. So, they don't always win at the Oscars, but traditionally they do if they win both. I think, as we mentioned last year, Three Billboards was the first time that it happened since you have to, I think, go back to Dr. Strangelove. So yeah, that's a long history. So yeah, but still, I think the win here, with it winning foreign language film and best film at BAFTA, I think definitely shows that a lot of these precursors are not afraid to go ahead and just overlap those two. So yeah. So I think I'll probably I'm sticking for now with Roma for foreign language film, unless I get a weird inkling or something. If I just get this weird feeling that all of a sudden, it's going to be something else, then I'll switch. But yeah, for now, I think that's really the big story there is, Roma wins here for film, director, as mentioned, cinematography, and foreign language. I feel like it'll have those 4 wins for sure at the Oscars. I don't think yeah, if something really weird like Green Book had upset here for best film, then yeah, then that would have thrown the whole thing into question. But I think it's Roma there. The favorite, I think, maximum at the Oscars is probably looking at. Yeah, I'm not going to bet on Olivia Colman. So I think maximum if it wins supporting actress, wins screenplay. Let's see here. It wins production design, costume design. And I think the most it can win at the Oscars is those four, and then if it manages to pick up film editing in a tight race, maybe. But that's it did win Ace Eddie, so we can't overlook that. I guess yeah, five would be the maximum. I don't see it pulling Best Actors too for Olivia, so I think five is the max there. So yeah, I think seven is the most wins it's going to have at any ceremony this year. Again, with the exception of the British Independent Awards, where I think it won like 9 or 10 or something there. So yeah, it did really well there. Yeah, and I think Bo Rap can definitely pull Best Actor. It can and one of the sound categories at the Oscars. I don't know about film editing now. Maybe, but yeah, that editing category is going to be a bit of a headache. But as long as we don't overthink it or something, then it could still pull out for film editing. So I would say the max it can win is probably 3 at the Oscars out of its 5 bids. But yeah. All right, I think that about wraps it up here for BAFTA. We'll get into as we get closer to the Academy Awards, we'll do some final predictions there. WGA is next weekend. I'll get some final predictions out for those because I think the adapted race. I think we're all pretty confident for the most part in it being either Black Klansman or Beale Street. Original screenplay at WGA. Green Book, I think, certainly has the advantage, but it's going to have some competition there. So we'll have a little bit of thinking to do in those categories for WGA before the Oscars, and whoever wins there, maybe gives the edge. But then we could see some surprises there. So yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it at that, and BAFTA's over now. Thank goodness. I got quite a few wrong, but there were a couple more obvious ones I got right. So I guess count the good with the bad with that.